Hello everyone, this is Kenny Denslow introducing my new podcast, Basketball from the Backyard. In my podcast, I'm going to be focusing on what is going on in the National Basketball Association right now, and what better time of year to do that with the playoffs approaching. In the crazy world that we live in today, entertainment that people have always had the luxury of enjoying, such as sports including basketball, has been greatly affected by COVID-19. Not all players were willing to get vaccinated, including Brooklyn Nets all-star point guard Kyrie Irving. Irving just made his debut at the Nets' home court, the Barclays Center, for the first time all season, but the road there was not easy. Irving has not been able to play at home since October when the season started, even though unvaccinated fans could attend games at Barclays Center. This frenzy is a big reason why the Nets are barely in a playoff position in the Eastern Conference standings, which will make the playoffs much different than most people expected. Although the playoff bracket is not set in stone, fans have a general idea of what the standings will look like come mid-April. For those new to this concept, the top 8 teams from the Eastern and Western conferences will make the playoffs, and seeds 7 through 10 from each conference will participate in a tournament to earn seeds 7 and 8 in each conference. As a huge New York Knicks fan, it is disappointing to accept that they are unlikely to make the play-in tournament this year, as they are several games behind the Atlanta Hawks for 10th in the Eastern Conference, with not too many games left to play. The play-in in the Western Conference, however, is looking a lot more interesting. Will LeBron James miss the playoffs for just the 4th time in 19 years? Seeds 9 through 11 are just about a game within each other in the Western Conference, with those teams being the New Orleans Pelicans, the San Antonio Spurs, and of course the LeBron James Los Angeles Lakers. Even if you are not familiar with basketball, you are likely to have heard of LeBron James, a player who many consider the greatest of all time. Any playoffs that fans have seen without him have been drastically different to the point where it does not even seem real. We are experiencing a new generation of basketball players, where youngsters like Jason Tatum and Ja Morant are propelling their respective teams to upper seeds in each conference. The play-in will no doubt be great, but fans like me cannot wait for the real deal, the playoffs. Wrapping up the play-in discussion, it seems clear the Hawks and Nets will come out of the Eastern Conference, and the Minnesota Timberwolves and Spurs will come out of the Western Conference. Each of these teams all have proven all-stars, the Nets having Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, the Hawks having Trae Young, the Timberwolves having Karl Anthony Towns, and the Spurs having DeJounte Murray. However, there is more to a team than just talent, such as coaching and chemistry, which the Spurs definitely have with one of the greatest coaches of all time, Greg Popovich. The Spurs are the weakest out of the 4 teams I have just listed, but they are much more functional than the Lakers and Pelicans, with both teams facing injuries and chemistry issues. After the play-in comes the beginning of the 2 months of the intense playoffs. Starting out with the Western Conference, I have the Phoenix Suns, Memphis Grizzlies, Golden State Warriors, and Dallas Mavericks advancing to the conference semifinals. These teams have the 4 best records in the Western Conference, which is one of the many compelling facts about them. The Suns have clinched the best record in the NBA, showing why they are likely to advance, while the Grizzlies and Warriors have been consistently better than their opponents all season. The Mavericks, on the other hand, have one of the best players in the league, Luka Doncic, who is truly incredible and seems unguardable. That is just one conference. There is a whole other set of games in the other. The Eastern Conference is a lot tighter than the Western Conference, which made my prediction of the Miami Heat, Boston Celtics, Philadelphia 76ers, and Milwaukee Bucks advancing to the conference semifinals very difficult. The 2 teams I predicted would make it out of the Eastern Conference play-in, the Nets and the Hawks, will give whoever they face a run for their money. Again, these predictions are very difficult, but the Heat, Celtics, 76ers, and Bucks have consistently been the best teams in the Eastern Conference all year, largely due to their star power. Seeing Kevin Durant go down in the first round would be pretty hard to believe, but it just does not seem like his team has enough to beat any team seeded 1 through 4 in the Eastern Conference. The conference semifinals last year were even more entertaining than the actual finals, and this year it may very well be the same. My picks to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals are the Bucks and the 76ers, and my picks to advance to the Western Conference Finals are the Suns and the Grizzlies. This decision is probably the hardest one I have had to make in my predictions so far, largely because I am stating that the Warriors, led by All-Star Stephen Curry, will lose in the second round. Ever since the return of starting shooting guard Klay Thompson from injury, the Warriors have surprisingly really struggled. The same cannot be said for the first place Suns or Grizzlies, who have played even great without their leader, Ja Morant. Not everyone can win, which means some teams have to lose. Now comes the second to last round, the conference finals, where I believe the Suns and Bucks will advance to rematch in the NBA Finals. Both conference finals series are very likely to go to 7 games, and they should be very interesting to watch. There is a reason why the Bucks and Suns made it to the finals last year, and both teams seem to have only gotten better since then. Ja Morant and the Grizzlies have exceeded everyone's expectations all year, but the Grizzlies and 76ers are just not good enough yet to take down the top dogs. Well, it is that time. My prediction for who I believe will be the NBA champion. Last year, the Bucks defeated the Suns in 6 games and won their first title in 50 years, and if they could do that again, it would truly be incredible. The Suns look more motivated than ever, but there's no stopping the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. That is right. The Bucks will repeat as champions after defeating the Suns in 7 games. You heard it here first. This is a very tough prediction to make, but based on how the Bucks have looked the last 2 years, I am very confident that it is the right one. I hope everyone enjoyed the first episode of Basketball from the Backyard. Make sure to share your predictions with me and tell me what I got right and wrong. Until next time, I am signing off just in time for the wildest time of year.